real. Are you ready? It's time. Wow, what an awesome night. So glad you decided to stop by and chat with us at Let's Get Real, Chattin with Catherine, the online chat show where we go into the deep to discuss physical, metaphysical, practical, magical, social, and political, and everything in between. And no sound bites here. We get into it. Are you ready to explore with me and my guests? If it matters to you, it matters to me, it matters to us. Are you ready to go into the deep and play? This is where it's at. We explore unique gifts, talents, insights, wisdom, and knowledge, and we have fun doing it. That's what it's all about, really. But we're not a medical advice show. So if you have a medical concern, please seek appropriate medical care. Please use discernment and decide for yourself if the information presented is right for you. This is a production of Catherine Publishing exclusively, copyright protected. No part may be altered or used or sold in any way without the written permission of Catherine Publishing. To find out how you can sponsor a show, contact the publisher at info@letsgetreal.chattinwithcatherine.com or go to the sponsor link on the sidebar of the main website for all the details. Okay, that should cover all the business end of the show, and now let's get real and have some fun. Thanks for stopping by, checking out Let's Get Real, Chatting with Catherine. I'll just bet that you're here because you're curious. Like me, you're wondering, what's going on in this world? You may be not satisfied with the answers you've been getting, or maybe your questions have provoked more questions. Do you ever think about what's the real purpose for being on this planet? Do you ever see yourself as more than a body? Have you been wondering if there are other dimensions? You hear about 2012 being this big dynamic year and 2013 being maybe something else. You hear about angels. You hear about people being able to communicate with other beings, or people who've crossed over, gone through their transition, and people are still communicating. You have questions about death. What's it like? What's the whole experience like? What do people have to say once they've been there? Maybe you have some questions about quantum energy, quantum healing. There are so many questions. There are so many questions. And there are so many different points of view about how we can live on this planet, how we can perhaps live in peace on this planet, in harmony. There are people who are out there trying to change the world, trying to heal it, trying to help it. Some people even with an attitude they need to save it. And there's other people who say, there's nothing to save, we're already saved. Different spiritual attitudes and ideas, different ways of reaching out and helping each other. There are people that are really awakened and aware. There are people who don't want to. They don't want to wake up. They don't want to be any more aware than they are. And you know what? It's perfect. It's perfect. You're perfect exactly as you are. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to be saving the planet. You don't need to be worrying about it. Everything is perfect. So the people that feel called to ask questions, that's perfect. The people who feel like they need to advocate for other people and help them, that's perfect. The people who think it's time for change and they want to work towards that change, it's also perfect. We all have our roles. We all have our unique journey. And really, it is about what's right for you. Just you. You don't need to worry about what other people are doing. If you feel the passion, something drawing you to reach out and feed your neighbor, then that's your job. It's that simple. That is what I've come to conclude. So there is no right and wrong. unless you want it to be that way. Unless you want, there's behaviors that result in certain consequences which we have to accept. That's the nature of planet Earth physicality. We came here to do certain things, and learning about what those certain things might be for you is part of the fun that I have, because I'm being introduced to all kinds of different things, ideas that are on this planet, and beliefs. And what I'm learning is that there are so many. I mean, there's 7 billion people, so that would say there are at least that many ideas, beliefs. And what is important to me is that when someone has an idea, and that idea seems to resonate with other people, or it seems to have some kind of insight or way of doing things that will actually make other people's lives easier, more fun. I mean, I'm all about the fun. I'm all about fun. Let's get real here. I'm all about the fun. I love to laugh. I love to see the funny in everything, because I think there is a lot of humor in being human. But what I really want to do is let people know that Let's Get Real, Chatting with Catherine, is really about that. Having deep conversations, the conversations that you maybe don't get just anywhere. Being able to, with no script, just getting people to sit down and take a look at what they believe. Let's Get Real, Chatting with Catherine started in January of 2012. And my first show, I believe, was with Rachel White-Seeing Owl, also known as Rachel Kyler. And she has this wonderful gift of being able to see your guides and her guides and help people that way. Then Debbie Colleen, who is just an amazing intuitive, and she works with the Starseed Blueprint. She does readings on the air, and she also has an amazing insight into life. Elisa Gamblin, hypnotherapy, and we got into a deep discussion about that. Rocky Krogfoss, who talks about quantum energy healing, which is also pretty awesome and different, and a new understanding. We talked about DNA, we talked about ways of healing the past, ways of working with the law of attraction. We talked with Kala H. Kos from Hawaii, who has very amazing intuitive energy and insight, and she uses the ancient tradition of Huna, which is also awesome. We've had music by Delaney Rose, a new and upcoming Canadian musician, which is very cool. We've had music from Titania Scavanicki, beautiful, powerful, passionate, feminine energy. Let me see. I'm just trying to remember all of my guests. Shelley Jossel, who channels goddess energy. Amazing. Did a YouTube video with her as well to help people to see what it looks like when somebody's channeling. That was cool. And Rose San Gregorio, also another one who has a very clear channel to the other side into insight and wisdom. And I'm telling you, this insight and wisdom from the other side is coming to more and more people, and so it's really interesting to be able to share this with people so that you can kind of have an idea what's really going on. This is what it's like. It's not woo-woo, it's just different. And that's another part of Let's Get Real. Let's look at each other and see, all aspects of God, all part of that divinity inside of us, all that beautiful shiny spark. So 7 billion different aspects of God, so we can look at each other in a different way. And I mean, and that includes, that's just the human parts. Everything that is a part of God. So it's a different kind of attitude, different kind of way of thinking. And of course we get into really wherever the question takes us, and that's kind of what I like to do. We talked with Velva Johnson, Silver Hughes, who is also another one with intuitive skills, and she talks about, she's the author of Ancient Secrets of the Goddesses, which is great insight and tools. She works with crystals, and and healing modalities, and very cool. Then we got into a really deep conversation with Jeff Swanson. He's another wise man, believe me. Lots of wisdom. We're going to have to do some more shows with him because he's very cool. Deep. I love deep. I love deep. Can't go deep enough for me. And so let me just think about this. Norma Cowie. Oh, another great insight, wisdom. She's been in the metaphysical world for like about 40 years. And she's bringing that wisdom to us in with her modalities, with her tools, with her books. She's got great stuff on wealth and the wisdom of that, healing past lives. My goodness, we're going to talk about ghosts in an upcoming episode, depending on when this is aired. You can always hear all the shows in the replay. So you go to the show page, Let's Get Real, chattinwithcatherine.com, go to shows, scroll through, and if it says future show, it hasn't aired yet, and then you go down, keep going, excuse me, find the guest you want or the show you want, and press replay, and it'll take you to Blog Talk, and you'll get to listen to it free, 24/7. The show really is dependent on sponsorships and donations, people who have products and messages that they want to advertise through a banner on the show page. It's pretty reasonable, folks. And there's other ways you can sponsor. You can go to the sponsor show if you're interested in that, which is cool because that's what keeps it on the air and keeps it free so that we can have the dialogue. We can expand what we know and what we don't know. We can look at things in a just really non-confrontational. Then we had Dr. Leslie Phillips, who's a meditation teacher. She's also a spiritual counselor. She's coming out with a book, which is called The Midas Tree. And you should look for that. That's going to be coming soon. That's going to be cool. Then we had a coach. She doesn't really call herself a coach, but she is kind of a motivational coach and motivational speaker, and that's Chandra Harborough. She's an amazing woman and has a lot of different ideas about raising consciousness and how to live on purpose. Cool message. Then we had Farhana Dalla, and this is a fun topic because we were talking about divorce, and she's written a book called Thank You for Leaving Me. Now, that's not something most people say when they get divorced, but I'm going to tell you, there's so much juicy wisdom in her book. Awesome, and it was a great interview. So you can listen to that. Then we had Mike Lane, acupressure, ear acupressure. He puts seeds on your ears and it can help with the meridians through the body flow because that's his expertise. He was taught by his mother through Mongolian acupuncture, I guess it was, but he doesn't use needles. So, and he's got great wisdom and experience with herbs and Chinese medicine and well as Canadian. So it's very cool. That was a nice interview. And then we had Laura Brown talking about the gender differences, and because she's done a lot of research in the neuroscience of gender differences, the way men and women think, the way we learn, and how we behave then in business and in our relationships. And knowing this stuff can really give you that extra insight into your own behavior and how to relate to others, men or women, in business, in your life. And she's working on some stuff for kids now too to help parents with that. And then we have Lee Horbaczewski, another great author and amazing advocate for mental health and wellness. She had attempted to commit suicide herself a number of years ago, and what she learned from going through that experience about depression and mental illness in Canada and what's available and all that information. She is an amazing woman of spiritual, wise, but also just an inspiration to listen to her, and the hope and the joy, absolute joy and zest for life. So that was cool. And she has a book also that you can get, and you can get all that information on my website. Her book's called A Quiet Strong Voice, and all of my guests, they have a guest page with go to the guests link and you'll find the guest list, and you'll find all of the guests there, their bio, their contact information, all that stuff. Let me see. We had, the Unshackled Tour with Marcy Field, and we're going to be following that that. She's going from Alberta to the east coast of Canada on her motorcycle to raise awareness for something so very simple, a solution that will help girls in Malawi. It's called Transformation Textiles and the Malawi Project. And what they're doing is they're using offcuts of textile material to make these pads, these panties and pads for girls, so that they can continue to go to school when they're menstruating, which so many of them can't right now, and they have to take a week out of every month or whatever, and they're missing school, then they fall behind, and eventually they just don't get an education. So we can help to get these girls so that they can get an education, which of course translates to more awareness, better educated population, better healthcare, better ways of looking after their families, just a totally different life experience. And I think we can change the world by empowering young women to be educated, awake, and aware. And this is just one project, and she's raising funds for this project by raising awareness. So you can get all that information on their website. Who else? Let me see. Oh, and let me just think. There is John Campbell, who is an author also of The Secret of Intimate Relationships. And he is going to be, got a YouTube video of him, as well as going to be a guest upcoming on the show. We are having Candace Hill talking about Natural Health Freedoms Canada, an advocate agency that promotes and stands up for Canadians' right to natural health products. So we're going to talk to her about what this means for her and what her work does for Canadians. So like I said, you know, we have people out there who are doing things for the rest of us that we very often don't know about, and we just get the benefits. You know, just like we did back in the day when, you know, Tommy Douglas took a big stand and a lot of criticism for trying to get universal health care for Canadians, something that a lot of people really didn't want because there was no money in that. But in the end, Canadians benefited. Canadians benefited from that decision, that we all came together on that. And I think that's very cool. And, you know, I look at some of the women in history, in Canadian history, Nellie McClung, and the Famous Five, and the women that stood up so that women naturally could have the right to vote, to have a say in what went on in their country, in their community, to hold office, to have an influence, and to be equal to men. And which, you know, we have amazing, women have an amazing strength in our feminine power when we're really in it, not trying to be men, being women, and authentic. And those women were that. And they paved the way for the rest of us. And so today we still have people who that's their role, that's their healing, that's their journey to do these things, to champion for the less fortunate or the people who are unaware and unawake. Because we can't all do all of these things. We can't all spend our time researching and learning about things. We can't all do internet radio. We can't all be writers. We all have our gifts, and I think it's really important to recognize that and honor each other. Honor each other for our own contributions, because it's so, so important. So, Anne, I'm going to let you know right now some of the guests who are going to be on the show very soon. We have a lovely lady from Bowbench Retreat, Nancy Stroth, and she has it's called Bowbench Retreat. It's just a very cool building, and it's in the most perfect location. It's a very quiet location. It's a place she started it so that people can come together and do like quilting projects together and get together as women in community and talk and connect, or scrapbooking, or you can have business meetings in an environment that's really laid back and beautiful scenery on the Bow River. And so we're going to talk to her about that and what she's doing and what else is available. We're also going to be talking to Amy Hutton about awakening goddess through dance. I love dance. dance. I love dance. And so she's going to be coming on and talking to us. Then we have another author, the author of Morgan's Journey, which is a fictional story. But the guest is Rachel Olson, and she's going to talk to us about her own health attitudes towards healthy living, and which I think she's sort of woven into the story. I haven't had a chance to read Morgan's Journey yet, but I can tell it's going to be fun. We also have another author, and her name is Charmaine Hammond, and she's written, which some of you have already probably heard about, On Toby's Terms is a book about a dog. I haven't read the whole book yet. I'm very intrigued. She's got quite a few other books out, which I'm also going to be interested in reading. GPS Your Life is one of them, so that's going to be fun. We're going to be talking to her. We're going to talk to Vanda Corbett. Dr. Vanda Corbett is a chiropractor from Canada who's working abroad. She's done things with Doctors Without Borders and fun stuff like that. Really, she's, what I see is reflective of the new generation that is kind of fearless. They've got gifts and skills, and they're just open to taking them wherever they go and seeing the world. And she's just a very lovely energy. And I had a personal experience working with her. She actually really helped me to get myself lined up, and I had curvature of the spine, and she helped me to get that straightened out. So if you can imagine, I never thought, I was told that would never be able to be fixed, and she did. So she's awesome. And so that's just the next couple of months. So or even into October, and then who knows. But the point is, these guests are all bringing their piece of the puzzle. I like to call it a recipe. When you're making something, the ingredients that go into it determine what you end up with. If you're making stew and you put cake stuff in, flour and eggs and whatever, you're not going to actually get the stew that you might want. So, and vice versa. If you're making a cake, you don't generally put, meat in it. But, so what I'm saying is, as we have this passion to create a better world, everybody brings their piece, their ingredient, their particular, just the right amount of whatever it is. And in the end, we have something that we've all contributed to in our own way. Could be just a little tiny thing, but it will make a difference. A pinch of salt makes a difference. And that's what this is all about. It's not about telling anybody how to live, or about a religion, or about a scientific, absolutes. We're not about absolutes. We're about what if. The big fives, who, what, where, when, why, sometimes how. But mostly it's about recognizing, acknowledging, and being interested and asking the questions. So, let's get real. Chatting with Catherine, that would be me. And that is Let's Get Real, chattingwithcatherine.com, the website, and then you can go to Blog Talk Radio, and you can go to my Facebook page, and you can go to, WordPress blog, and you can go to YouTube. Hey, we're out there. And you can contact me. And if you happen to be a musician, singer, songwriter, and you're trying to get your music heard, and it's got a high vibe that is fun, that is uplifting, that is moving, that will touch people, and you want it heard, I am offering that as an opportunity. Sometimes it's appropriate to have a musical interlude on the show, and if I have a song that fits, boom, it's on there, and people will hear it, and you will get exposure. And I have a guest page that your bio and your picture can be on, and people can find out how to get your music and so on. I'm offering this because I think music is huge in changing the attitudes of people, in reaching people and touching their heart, in uplifting and giving that positive message. So, if this fits with you, come on over. I look forward to seeing you. I think it's going to be fun. It has been so far. Let's get real. Are you ready? It's time.